So my name's Nick Nicky. I'm an Insight Director at AutoTrader. I'm a consumer psychologist. I've been in marketing research for over 30 years. I continuously have imposter syndrome. It doesn't seem to go, sadly. But I've worked in marketing research for over 30 years. I've been AutoTrader for about 14. 30 years ago, I had a career break. I started off, I was in one of the first indie bands in the UK. I played guitar. I've got a wall of them, as you can see. They go on a bit. They go even further. And I have more in cases. And I had a wall of Marshalls, and they blew my ears out. So my right ear is completely deaf from the Marshalls, and my left ear has tinnitus. So I have this set up very loud. So if you do have questions at the end, please shout. If I don't hear you, please do say it again, Chris. Thank you. So I'm going to take us through how my industry, of course, is automotive. We are a massive marketplace, and how we've been through this massive forced experiment, because actually that's what we have been through. It's very hard to predict what's going to happen in the future. Crystal balls don't work, clairvoyants don't work. Experts are really only 5% more accurate than random chance. No one really knows what's going to happen. It's very hard to predict. And we didn't see this coming. And most predictions were wrong. I was doing some work with Ipsos last year, and they were saying, they asked prior to COVID, what do you think would be a threat to public health? Most people said something like chronic disease or lifestyle or environment. No one predicted infectious disease like we've been through. But it has had an impact on all of us, of course it has. And this means it can affect how we feel and react, because how we are feeling really can have an impact on how we make decisions. In a study from 2011, judges are seen to be influenced by social factors as much as any of us. They are fallible and flawed. Prisoners are more likely to be granted parole early in the day or just after a break such as lunch. What? That's completely unfair. But actually, no, that's what happens, because they are human beings, and anything that's been going on in their lives will have an impact. So when thinking about advertising and marketing, what's going on around us, what day it is, how we're feeling, really will have an impact on how we react. So we have been forced through this massive forced experiment. Well, actually, it's not an experiment, it's a mass forced technical adoption, just as we did with SMS in the past, or email or phone calls in previous generations. And it's dramatically changed the speed of adoption of new technology. It's allowed Zoom to carve out 200 million users. Here's my family on one of those Zoom calls we used to all do in lockdown. But what's happened to those prior barriers to tech adoption that slowed it all up? Things like massive contracts, and your IT department say, oh, no, we can't do that because of firewalls. Well, when you get the irresistible force of a lockdown, which happened, and the remote working, which also happened, when those collide with those prior barriers, what happens is, well, adoption speeds up. And we saw tech adoption in days or weeks, when it could previously have taken months or years, none more so than our amazing National Health Service. So I really am deaf. And during one of those interminable bank holiday weekends in April, May, I got earache in my good ear, and it got really bad. And I thought, well, I can't phone the doctor. You know, it was some git with earache when there's people dying. So I didn't. Then it got really bad, and I couldn't sleep, and my face swelled up. So my wife said, phone the doctor. So I thought, well, I won't get in. Anyway, I phoned the doctor. The receptionist said, yes, your doctor will phone you back in half an hour. Wow. Used to take days to get an appointment. Then half an hour later, I had a video call with my doctor looking at me, and he could see my face swollen. He diagnosed a infection. And then even more amazingly, he said, and if you need to see a consultant, we can arrange that for this afternoon as well. This afternoon. It used to take 3 months to see a consultant on the National Health Service. That is the speed of adoption. That is an amazing change to how we are all expecting the world to be now. It means we think a bit differently. I was going to quote from the brilliant Nobel Prize-winning Daniel Kahneman, psychologist, fantastic writer, Thinking Fast and Slow. Please read the book if you get his book, if you get a chance. But he can interpret how we cope in this new world. He says the brain is split into two things, two main parts. You have the primal brain, he calls system 1, which we use 95% of the time. It's on all the time, it's unconscious, it allows us to do things and react to stimulus that's going on. And the rational brain, which is a lot younger, which we only use 5% of the time, and it's more illogical and slow and lazy, and it's how when we're writing a paper or working on a spreadsheet and you have to think, you use your rational brain. But in today's world, we rely a lot more on our primal brain, particularly with all these things going on that's all frightening and new. and it's very old. It's 500 million years old. It helped keep Neanderthal man safe from marauding saber-toothed tigers. So how do you stimulate primal brain? Well, it actually likes theatre, and it's these simple stimuli, something emotional or visual or memorable or personal. If it's about you rather than about the company, if it's something personal, will grab my attention. So imagine you're driving, you've been driving for an hour and a half, and you pull into a lay-by, and you think, I can't remember anything about the last 20 minutes of the journey. Oh my God, was I daydreaming? Oh, was I asleep? No, you weren't asleep. Your primal brain was on, and nothing contrastable to the norm happened. Contrastable would be someone pulls in front of you and you have to brake, and the visual is the red lights coming on and you have to brake. But nothing happened. You were safe. Your brain works. So what you really need to do, without being blindingly obvious, is keep it simple and easy to understand, which will be allowed for faster comprehension and is primal brain friendly and doesn't take up much energy. Your message today needs to be simple enough for a 4-year-old to understand it, because a 4-year-old only uses a primal brain. The rational brain develops from age 5 onwards. Picasso said all children are talented artists, but as we grow and develop the rational brain, many of us stop and rationalize. Actually, I'm no good at drawing. I'll stop now. And we can be put off. If you go to any household that's got up to 4, 5-year-old children in it, you will see pictures and drawings stuck on the fridge and the kitchen cabinets around the kitchen. My grandkids did it. My children did it too. You and I did it. So appeal to that 4-year-old. Here's a typical 4-year-old. Well, this is a very old 4-year-old. This is in black and white. This is me, age 4. On my tractor, yes, I was a petrolhead even then, and I had hair. So what would be the most effective way to make System 1 sit up and take notice? You need to create theatre. This is a £15 shirt for sale on As Seen on Screen. It's a shirt, and I would look great in this shirt. It is personal, it is visual, it is tangible, it is emotional, it is simple. If I'm selling a car, the obvious thing for my industry is, why haven't I got a video of it? So what should we be doing now with social distancing? Can we create a digital showroom that excites? Well, we asked our audience. We have a massive amount of data and a huge audience. We're the biggest marketplace in the UK. Would you be open to completing the purchase of the car online and then simply turning up to collect it? And 82% said, actually, yeah, I would now. And that is a massive change. And what's going to make you feel safe or comfortable? Well, I want appointment-only visits, and I want to have a test drive on my own, things that have never happened before. I want contactless transactions. These haven't happened before. This is all new. So if I am surfing and I'm looking, I want to see what the car looks like outside my house. Can I do that? Well, actually, this tech's been around for a while, but it's now pretty slick. This is a Volvo XC90, big SUV. That is on my drive, and it is an augmented reality shot on my phone. Just using my phone, I can see, does the car fit? These are pain points in the car buying journey that I will worry. Will the car even fit in my drive? Will it go between the gates? Does it fit in the garage? You can see with one click, and that is completely primal brain friendly. I'm very honoured I'm also, as well as working at AutoTrader, I am a visiting lecturer at Anglo-Ruskin University on their consumer psychology course. And I help the MSc students, and I lecture and I help with their dissertations. And one of the students her dissertation last year was on the role of haptic challenges, touching things. What impact will that have on car buying, particularly if we move towards online only? So particularly pertinent for today. Now, when you think about the haptic challenge, the academic term is need for touch, NFT shortens to. You can have an instrumental need for touch where you just will not buy anything without touching it. And you will have an autotelic need for touch, which is you just touch things for fun. And I am autotelic. That's why I play guitar. I'm always fiddling with stuff. I like to have something in my hands. And you have a low and high level of instrumental and a low and high level of autotelic. So the hypothesis that she came up with was, if you have a high need for touch and a high level of interest in cars, if you can stimulate those tactile senses, you will make a higher purchase intent and a better product judgment. So we set about tasks. We gave the people who took part in the task, or she did actually, look for a car, imagine you're looking for a car, and we presented 3 different scenarios. There was a control group, which was just a standard, looks a bit like AutoTrader. Here's a car with descriptions. Then the next condition had a tactile description included, so things like comfortable grip or leather material or high density foam lining. Then the third condition had a visual element where you could spin, control, and move and turn the car around, almost as if you were touching it. So it's a good sample, mainly women, because it was done at Cambridge University. 70-30 split is unusual for the auto industry. And what came out was actually no real difference for product judgment, but there was a significant increase or interaction for purchase intent if I could move and play with the image. So for those with an autotelic NFT, these are people who like to touch stuff for fun. From low to high autotelic, you can see the grey line is those with a high autotelic, actually, because they're actually a bit put off and frustrated because it's not like the real thing. It's good, but it's not like the real thing. It did drive purchase intent, but it's not like the real thing. Whereas those with a low NFT, which is the dark blackish line, you can see for condition 3, where they played with an image, yep, it really did prove and improve their purchase intent. And for those with an instrumental NFT, these are people who won't buy anything without touching it. With typical, I need to go and sit in that car, open the door, feel it close. You can see the grey line on the right-hand side. When they could play with the image, it really did drive purchase intent. So it can increase it. So it's important. These are elements that we need to get into our industry, that actually we're all online now. Can we make it simple and easy? Can we appeal to that primal brain? This is the VW ID3. It's the electric car, the electric version of cars. The ID4 coming. Intelligent design is what ID stands for. And it launched a couple of weeks ago. And brilliantly, to order one, the configuration process is simple. It only takes 10 clicks to configure the entire vehicle. Okay, it's only one engine, a battery, but 10 clicks. That's primal brain friendly. There is an online bank, which I'm not going to mention, very famous, well known, and it takes between 150 and 200 clicks to register as an account with them. That is not primal friendly. So the best retailers are answering detailed questions online fast. They're using video for all, of course, tech adoption, we're all using video. They're making me feel safe. Home delivery, free home delivery, reserve your car. Even the handover now can be done on video. Buying a Tesla today and you get most of the handover done on your phone. So the toothpaste is out of the tube. It's an American phrase. You can't push toothpaste back into a tube. Once it's out, it's out. This is the horrible phrase, the new normal. So we haven't been through a mass-forced experiment. We've been through a mass-forced tech adoption. My mother is 83, lives in Reigate in Surrey, which is near London. And she used to go to Roomba classes and dance classes. And now, because of lockdown, she has to use a Zoom to do it. And she is the Reigate and Banstead Zoom expert. And she's 83, and all the other 83-year-old, her friends phone her, here, you know, how do you do this? And she tells them. It's amazing. So you need to appeal to system one. The primal brain wants theatre, but it wants it to be easy. And whatever you're selling, buyers today are ready to and keen to interact. McKinsey completely agree with us. This is a quote from them. This shifting consumer behaviours brought on by COVID reflect the acceleration of anticipated trends. It's a change. The emergence of new preferences. This is different. And a complete reversal of some long-held routines. Prior to COVID, buying a car today, most people, up to 70%, would just turn up at the dealership. They'd done all their research on here. They found the car and they just turned up. No communication, not even an email or a call. Now you have to call or email to make an appointment. That is a complete reversal. So the CRM systems that you're using have to be on the button, have to nail it. I've got some terrible stories I could bore you with about how people don't answer calls and ignore emails. So if you're in commerce today online, your CRM and your response times got to get better. The attitudes have changed. Some are here to stay. Digital car buying is accelerated to become the next normal. And if you add entertainment and theatre to convenience, if you can stimulate my primal brain, you will bring success. That's it for me. Thank you very much for listening. I hope that was vaguely interesting. Anyone there still?
Interesting. Thank you for sharing. Can you hear me okay?
Hi, Chris.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Perfect. Well, thanks for that presentation. Like we've had before from you in the past, a really good presentation and some great points raised. We've had a few interesting questions come in that we want to position to you, so we'll crack on with that. But thanks again, Nick. You moved on to an earlier question that came in was, how quickly did you have to adapt to bringing in new technology during the pandemic and right now during the pandemic? Were you well positioned with, you showed some models of like AR and things like that. Were you well positioned already with these things, and are you kind of continuously evaluating and evolving these technologies?
That's a great question. Thank you. Yeah. Like all companies, we had to suddenly work from home and locate, and we did do that. And there's 900 employees, and we're all suddenly from our offices, bang, at home on Slack and Teams and Zoom calls doing this. The site, we work on an agile design process anyway, as all sites do, of course. We do A/B testing all the time. There's always something new happening, and we're always researching our customers. So for a long time, we've been advocating high quality images, a video. We haven't got into AR yet. That is coming. Volvo seems to be one of the only manufacturers that has really embraced it, and it's only really with the XC90. But it's pretty cool. Why can't I do that with every car as it's coming? So what we've really tried to master and try to engage with our customers is the validity of good quality pictures. So there are some retailers that will have 100 images of the car. 100, and that's enough. You don't need an AR video if you can see virtually everything and they're high quality. And there are still some retailers that will have only 8. It's like, also, I mean, no one has 4 images anymore, but 8 images really. If I can buy a shirt and have a video of a shirt, why can't I have it for a car? So bespoke video, of course. Now we're all used to using these things, and it's amazing the power of an iPhone or a smartphone. A bespoke video, if I phoned in and said, or called in and said, tell me about this car, can you just walk around it and show me elements? There are quite a few suppliers who work with us who provide a system where you can do that. You do a bespoke video. So that's really taken off. But we're just continuing to innovate and try and keep up with the times. Online retail is certainly where it's heading. You're buying everything online now. But buying a car, we just finished huge piece of research, literally got was debriefed on it yesterday, and it's car buyers' opinions on would I buy a car solely online and never actually have to see anybody. There's a site called Kazoo. There's a dealer called Kazoo. You may have seen the TV adverts, and they will deliver the car to your home. That's Kazoo, what it is. And so you don't have to go to the dealership. But even they had to buy some physical retailers to help, because not everyone's that happy solely seeing it. Would you buy a car without test driving? The weird thing, it's a bit of an odd industry because it's not like a phone or even a guitar. I wouldn't buy a guitar without trying it, but there are very few things where you really do need to physically touch it. Does it fit? What does it sound like? Does it drive well? There are so many elements, especially buying a used car, because there's no such thing as one used car. We've got nearly 430,000 cars for sale on AutoTrader. They're all different. There's 30,000 brand new cars. They're the same, but there's 400,000 completely different used cars. So it's an ever increasing challenge. What the ultimate answer is going to be an omnipresent simulated. No, simulus is the wrong word. Joining on and offline together, so that if I've contacted you online, then it's a nice simple link, so that when I go to the dealership, you know who I am. I haven't got to go through and fill in hours and hours of paperwork. I can do most of it online. It just seems to blend together. Blended experience. That's what the future is going to be.
Yeah, nice. And on that point, obviously the process of buying a car with regards to things like PCP, hire purchase, all these kind of things, has that kind of shifted behaviour towards how we purchase a car? In many senses, you compared it to a phone. Well, saying it's different from a phone, but in many ways as well, it's the contract buys and paying a certain amount per month kind of thing. It moves it closer to that kind of model. Has that kind of shifted things?
Yes, absolutely. Circa 90% of all new cars are bought on finance, which is a huge number because we can all lease a car. Why spend your hard-earned savings? Why not just spend a regular monthly amount, just like we do on our phones, rent, our mortgages. We're used to that kind of way of owning now.
Mm.
And this is going to become even more prevalent with electric cars, because that's the big elephant in the box for the automotive industry is the emissions standards, which are going to be brought in 2030 even. It's only 9 years' time. Some people are trying to push, it's 2035 is the actual date, but by 2030 you won't be able to buy a brand new internal combustion engine car. And there's a lot of them around.
Yeah.
And there's circa 16 million diesel cars on the road at the moment. There's 34 million cars in the UK, circa. A huge number. And a tiny percentage of those are electric or battery electric. So it'd be very unlikely to buy, and they are expensive, of course, because you don't make that many of them. The cost of production is high, so the expense is high, so they're perceived to be expensive. So not picking the name, Nissan Leaf could be £30,000, whereas an equivalent Qashqai petrol-driven car would be £21,000. But no one pays that. What people pay is 300 quid a month or 220 quid a month. So if you're willing to pay 300 quid a month, what can you get for your money? So promoting products on their monthly finance deal, that's a new world for the automotive industry too. It's always been, this car's 30 grand, this car's 28 grand. No, what's it going to cost me a month? What's it going to cost me? Can I get a car for 180 quid a month? You can buy a car. It's a Hyundai i10, and I think it was £109 a month, brand new. You can have a brand new car with 7-year warranty for £109 a month. There are some iPhones which cost more.
Yeah.
And the other big change we've seen is prior to COVID, 18 to 24-year-olds and even 18 to 34-year-olds had a driving license but weren't ever going to buy a car. No, I will use public transport, I will use an Uber, and I'll share a car like something like Zipcar. Why would I own a car? So we lost this big chunk of a demographic, and now suddenly here we are in post-COVID times, and this audience is saying, I don't want to go on public transport. I want my own car. So we've got this whole new audience who are saying, actually, can I buy a car, please? And these could be people who are used to spending money on a phone. So actually, I'll have a new car. I don't want to, and they're not looking at bangers. When we looked at what people are looking at, are they buying all just going, oh, we're going to see a huge increase in £1,000 cars being bought? Well, no. The price ranges that people looked at prior to COVID, and we track this daily, are now the same post-COVID. So people are still looking at £30,000 cars, 50,000, 60,000 plus. There's a complete, almost very, very similar spread. So it's great news for the car industry, really.
Yeah, well, that's really good. We're just running out of time there. Just quickly to finish off, because I know you touched on it as well. I just wanted to maybe a quick answer on how you're kind of evaluating consumer behaviour now. And obviously, consumer behaviour has changed enormously in the last 6 months. We were very much all online, but many people that weren't maybe online have been shifted to making purchases or making decisions through kind of online channels during COVID. How do you go about that? And are the feedback loops that you use, do they remain the same?
Yes, well, this mass forced tech adoption, so we're all now online. We're all now more used to doing things online. So we still do a huge amount of research. We have panels live on our site the whole time, where we're buying into panels too. Our big goal is to make buying a car easier and simpler for everybody. So we're working to adapt our site the whole time for everyone who's been less confident about online and who is now forced to use it. So it's an ever-growing, changing and evolving beast. So that's our role, is to try and make life easier and evolve with the world. And in fact, we have a brilliant. No, I've lost it. We have a brilliant. No, I can't remember. We have a goal, which is to evolve and be the most helpful site you can imagine for car buyers. So it is a massive challenge, and we're determined to make it work.
Good stuff. Well, Nick, thanks for joining. It's great to see you again, and I really thank you for your time and also for presenting live there. It was great presentation and invaluable insights.